Welcome back to our continuing discussion of the career choices of the most interesting man in show business. Last time we encountered Nicolas Cage on this show was with Outcast, which I deemed a stupid movie which nevertheless had its moments. Since then, Cage has been in a political drama called The Runner, a movie that I did not talk about on this show. To give you a brief rundown, it was a pretty average movie. Not very good, but I didn't have a bad time watching it. It's a pretty standard 5 out of 10 movie all around, which on the direct-on-demand Nicolas Cage curve is actually really nothing to sneeze at. So my opinion on that one overall is that you should see that if you're a Nicolas Cage completionist like me, or if it's free on Netflix or something. Probably not worth seeking out otherwise. This brings us up to the latest Nicolas Cage film, PAYTHE Ghost, which is a new horror thriller in which Cage's son is abducted by a vengeful spirit on Halloween night. With the help of his wife, Cage must run around and explore history and mythology in order to find a way to cross over into the spirit realm and bring him back. So how does this movie compare with the rest of Nicolas Cage? Wait, this just came to me. Is this a horror version of National Treasure? Yeah, I think it is. So is this movie scary? No. However, is it a quality movie anyway? No. PAYTHE Ghost is another one of those movies that I don't think Nicolas Cage would have made if he didn't have to pay the IRS. If it's not nearly the worst or the cheapest movie he's made lately, it's still a poorly made waste of time that deserves its straight-to-on-demand release, and doesn't deserve its still very talented star. How many times do we need to see this parent crossing over into the ghost dimension to reclaim a stolen child plot anyway? The most obvious example of previous versions of this plot is, of course, Poltergeist. But we've seen it more recently with movies like Poltergeist and Insidious. PAYTHE Ghost doesn't set itself apart from these movies, and really that's kind of inexcusable. I mean, making a memorable horror movie shouldn't be hard for them to do. They've got Nicolas Cage who can take any nutty, off-the-wall idea you've got and turn it into cinematic gold. Look at another one of Cage's entries in the horror genre. Vampire's Kiss. That movie took risks.
How could somebody misfile something? What could be easier? It's all alphabetical. You just put it in the right file, according to alphabetical order. You know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Huh?
It did things we haven't seen before, and Cage carries it all. As a result, it's a masterpiece and one of my all-time favorite movies. In PAYTHE Ghost, every twist is predictable, every scare you can see coming from a mile away, the violence is too tame, and while Nicolas Cage is perfectly fine in the movie, his talents as a boundary-pushing, risk-taking actor are wasted on a bland character who recites bland dialogue. Also, I can't put my finger on it, but the antagonist reminds me of another recent horror villain. She's a ghostly, child-killing woman who wears black. Leave a comment below if you can tell me who this woman in black is reminding me of. Overall, I give this a 4 out of 10. Anyone holding out for a Nicolas Cage comeback, I'm afraid this isn't it. And even as a huge Nicolas Cage fan, I can't recommend it. If you're browsing Amazon Instant Video and your kid asks,
Dad, can we pay the ghost?
Just say no and just rent Vampire's Kiss instead. It's significantly better and a good time for the whole family.
Well, the fact is I did murder someone last night. I turned into a vampire. It's a long story.